Well, welcome back to another very exciting episode on Voices of Video. Now, we had a whole build-up before NAB, and of course, if you're watching this, 2 or 3 months from now, then references to NAB may not make sense. But if you were able to join us, that is NetInt, at NAB, you perhaps saw the flurry of activity in our booth. We were joined by 5 partners. We did something very different this year. And we brought 5 partners into the booth with us who were all showing their various solutions and their platforms that are integrating or where they've integrated with VPUs. So it was wonderful. It was an amazing time. We had a ton of fun, and the booth was just jammed. It was jam packed. Today, I am talking to Dominique from Scalstrm, and Scalstrm joined us at NAB. So, first of all, Dominique, welcome back to Voices of Video.
I'm glad to be back, and also many thanks for the opportunity to join NAB at your booth. It was a really exciting time, and we can continue talk about that.
Yeah, it really was. The whole concept this year was VPU ecosystem. And the concept behind that, which your company has played a key role in, is that when you need to integrate hardware into the network, there's obviously customers and the platforms themselves have to go through some sort of evaluation process where they just literally doesn't meet the quality bar. They have to verify that, run various test scenarios. They have to go through some just quality. What happens if this thing runs 24/7 and is never turned off? Does it need to be rebooted every 3 days, or so there's all of these steps that you have to go through. But eventually you have to put an engine in a car. We as the market for VPUs has developed over the last 5 years, we are very fortunate, and we actually feel quite humbled to have started with some very large hyperscalers. And of course, they own their own platform. They have large engineering teams that can do the integration. So they bought our product, put it through intense scrutiny, installed it in the network, and and they use it. And we have like more than 100,000 out there in the market today that are actually running in production 24/7. But as we know, if you think of the top of the pyramid, these hyperscalers, you can almost count on 2 or 3 hands. There's not so many of them, right? They are huge, but there's not so many. So it was really important to us, and that's why we're so happy to have our partnership together with Scalstrm, that we can take this great technology, the VPU technology, and make it available to everybody. And so that was exactly the point at NAB. So I want to start here, Dominic. You and I had a conversation. Our booth was jammed, very, very busy. I know you guys. I felt like every time I turned around, you had a meeting and you were very busy. All of our partners were really. But there was talk at NAB about traffic being down, attendance being down. Did you notice that, or were you hearing the same things, or what was your observation?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think in general we noticed that there were less people. I think less attendees at NAB.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think it was a real disadvantage, because I think the quality of the meetings were much higher than just people passing by. People were there with a reason, I think. So in my opinion, everybody at NAB was there with a reason, and therefore I think the meetings were good. So
Yeah.
for us, we noticed that there was less people walking around. But then again, at our booth, we had a lot of good meetings. Some of them were pre-booked, but also people were passing by. And then yeah, they came with a reason to our booth. Either they heard it from partners or from other people, like please jump by to the NetInt booth at and Scalstrm and have a conversation or a demo. So for us, it was not really something that was a bad thing. But
Yeah,
indeed, I think there were less people in general. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I have done, I don't even know, I was sitting there trying to think, how many NABs have I done? It must be at least 15, which, I know there's some people say, oh, come on, Mark, I've done 30. But I guess I'm not so old in the industry. But um, so certainly traffic was down, but let's face it, at the end of the day, we're there to do business. We are there
Yeah.
to, have, I would say, real meaningful conversations and, 100 encounters where we're just giving out T-shirts. The value is not as high as those 20 or those 30 or those 40 really focused meetings. And
Yeah,
so
correct. I fully
I
agree.
think,
Yes.
yeah, and all of my vendor friends and everybody in our booth, certainly everybody said the same thing. Like like in some ways it's good, that the general traffic was down. But anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about the really important stuff now. So you had a very successful show, and why don't you give a preview of some of the results that came out of NAB for you?
Yeah, definitely. The main reason we were at NAB was to showcase a bit our new product, mainly on the transcoding side. And one of this was, of course, that we use the VPU card for the transcoding part. And at IBC, actually, everything started at IBC last year, where we initially demonstrated our just-in-time transcoding solution. There was a lot of interest for that, and then we started, building a product around it. We started the discussion, I think, right after IBC with NetInt as well. We built a product around it, and then at NAB, I think, we had a ready product that we could fully demonstrate, not only for VOD just-in-time transcoding, VOD offline transcoding, but also live just-in-time transcoding. And then I think this was something, let's say, relatively new that not all our customers, partners knew or were aware of, because our website is not fully up to date yet. We had really good conversations about this. People, customers, partners were really interested in this. For us, this also opens up new markets that we can, for example, handle new use cases like hospitality, pop-up channels, where we can do the more or less the end-to-end chain from live transcoding till the origin, till the player, let's say. And then even I must say that this was really successful because even I think tomorrow afternoon we already have a live event planned with a just-in-time transcoder running on VPU cards. So
Oh,
that's really positive. We
yeah.
have some other opportunities that we're discussing. Pricing and requirements in Asia, and then another one in Europe. So yeah, it was a really successful NAB, and this definitely opens doors for other use cases and opportunities. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was good.
Amazing. Well, congratulations. As I said there in my first question, at the end of the day, we're there. Yes, it's great to, connect with our friends and all, but we're all there to do business. So,
Exactly.
the fact that you walked away with very concrete opportunities. I want to. I want to talk about your just-in-time transcoder because there's a couple things that I would like you to, tell the audience about. I'm sure they would be very curious. One is how you went from IBC, which is September. So,
Mhm.
I guess where we sit today, call it, 6, 8 months, but in reality, you had to have everything built well before April,
Yeah,
the
correct.
6th, the start of NAB. So presumably you were able to make this migration from software to hardware in what, maybe 3 or 4 months? Is that how long it took you?
Yeah, more or less correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you can, walk us through the journey. Like, what did that look like? What is some of your underlying architecture? Are you leveraging open source frameworks like FFmpeg? Have you built your own solution? I know the audience would be super curious to
Yeah.
hear
No,
how you
definitely.
did that.
So I think in general, at Scalstrm, we built everything from scratch. So
Mm,
we're not using any open source components, and we try to do this in every product more or less. Of course, sometimes you need to rely on existing libraries, but for the
hmm
rest, I think everything is more or less built in-house, and then we do this for a reason. It gives us a lot of flexibility. It gives us the best performance, and then with this we can really be really agile and adopt really fast to new features, new requirements, and not rely on open source components. So we do the same for the transcoding part.
mm,
So at IBC, initially everything was based on CPU. By this works fine. But of course, you need to have a lot of CPU power,
you do, especially for
especially for
live.
exactly, especially for
Yeah,
live
yeah,
and for high bit rates,
yeah.
different depending on the codec and so on. So after we started the discussion with NetInt, we started testing this in-house, and then I think one of the things that we is really high on our agenda is sustainability and cost efficiency.
Mm,
And I think the VPU cards really fit well into that strategy,
yeah.
because on the origin we try to be the most performant platform of the market. I think now with the transcoding, with using the VPU cards, I think we did some benchmark tests, and the performance difference was huge. So it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. To do the transcoding in hardware
Yeah.
on the VPU cards. That
Yeah.
was quite clear from the tests. And afterwards, we really built the product around it. So that's really
That's
good.
great. What codecs are your customers primarily focused on?
Yeah, it's still the classical ones, H.264 and
H.264.
H.265.
Yeah,
Yeah.
HEVC.
So
Yeah.
we get in RFPs, AV1 is
Yeah.
typically
Yeah.
one that is requested. Not that it's a mandatory
Yeah.
codec,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something that's considered for the future.
Yeah.
But for now, it's still H.264,
Yeah.
H.265, and I think that's what's commonly used
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, no doubt. We see that really regardless, almost any region of the world now. It's not just in America or in certain European countries, or it's everywhere. It's H.264, HEVC are mandatory, and AV1 is either a nice to have or a requirement, though they're not using it today. But they're not going to, they just simply cannot ignore AV1. AV1 is coming, it is here, it's happening, and so if you're going to be investing, especially in hardware, you better make sure it supports AV1. And of course, we have a very good solution there. So it always
Yeah.
blows people away. Maybe you even had the same experience. We're so used to software, right? And H.264 is, obviously it depends on at what time period you made the measurements in terms of the complexity of the compute required. But it's anywhere from 4 to 8 times. Maybe in the early days it was 10 times more complex, meaning it required more cycles. That many more cycles going
Hmm.
from H.264 to HEVC. Then going from HEVC to AV1 was like another almost 10x. I mean, again, the practitioners will say, no, Mark, now, the software, you know, uh, codec engineers and all have greatly improved performance, and that absolutely is true. SVT AV1, and there's certainly some proprietary AV1 encoders that are, but the point is it required a lot of compute. So we're used to thinking software where you could say, oh, H.264 performance is actually reasonable enough, and then you go to HEVC and you say, I'm going to cut my stream count by 4, on a server, maybe even 5. Then you go to AV1 and you're like, I'm lucky if I can do 1 or 2 ABR ladders on even a massive, big AMD, 48, 64 core, processor. But with VPUs, it's the same. So you
Yeah,
get
exactly.
32 1080p 30s, whether on a single chip solution like a T1U, which I believe is what you guys are using. You get 32, whether it's H.264, HEVC, or AV1. People are like,
Yeah,
wow,
correct. And
that's just amazing. They can't believe it. It's
and this was also really mind-blowing because at
yeah,
NAB we had a kind of demo server with us because we cannot
yeah,
really rely on internet to do
that's right.
demonstrations. So
Yeah.
we had our own demo server with it, with the VPU cards in it. And then, yeah, people were like, "Yeah, how many channels can you do?" And yeah, we just opened the door from the closet and we showed
Mhm.
our demo server, which was a really small form factor.
Yeah.
And then on this one, we could do 600 channels origin
Yeah.
repackaging, and then
Yeah.
I think we had two cards, so we could do 64 live channels
Yeah.
transcoding just on that device. And
Yeah.
this was really mind blowing for a lot of people. Like, oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. That's incredible.
Mhm.
That's really great. Well, where do you see you are primarily working in like I'll call it broadcast applications. Is that correct, or where is your sweet spot in terms of what your focus is
Yeah.
across the industry or for the industry?
Yeah, our main customers are, we have a few different types. Everything started with the tier one telcos,
Yeah.
which still is of course a clear focus for us.
Yeah.
But then I think yeah, roughly two years ago, or perhaps even 3 years ago, we also included broadcasters
Hmm.
in our customers' portfolio. And then now with the just-in-time transcoding, we have even more use cases. Yeah, like I mentioned, hospitality, pop-up channels,
Hmm.
educational purposes, webinars that we can handle.
Hmm.
But I think the main customer focus at the moment, or our main customers, are currently the tier one telcos and the
Telcos. Yeah.
broadcasters,
Hmm.
and yeah, partly also the content owners with just VOD, but this is then mainly on the VOD transcoding
Yeah.
and packaging. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. And so, are these telcos that are currently offering um, entertainment channels, or are they operating on behalf of some of their large media customers? Or what, maybe you can tell more about what these workflows are, who the end customer is, what the content is they're delivering.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a combination. Either tier ones, of course, they have their own customers, either with
Yeah.
set-top boxes or smart cards, or even just an app.
Mm,
Um, and then often they also resell part of their channels to third parties.
mm,
So this is something that they can do with our multi-tenant platform. So they can just split off a few channels and resell them to third
mm,
parties.
mm,
Yeah, and then they also act as a kind of aggregator because you have
mm,
all the individual broadcasters within different countries,
mm.
and they kind of aggregate all these yeah, local, public, commercial channels,
Yeah,
and they offer it to all the customers as a one package.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, interesting. Well, it's a very important business. It's a good business. You've designed a very good solution, and well, like I say, I was impressed. It really did feel like every time I had a little break and kind of was looking around, you were hard at it in the middle of a conversation. So with customers, so there's a lot of interest clearly in the platform.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
where do you go from here? Maybe you can give us a little sneak peek. You don't have to give away all the secrets, but how is the platform going to be developed? Is there anything new that, or anything that you're going to add for IBC? Maybe you can give us a little preview.
Yeah, I think I first of all, yeah, at NAB we demonstrated yeah, our solution. We started at IBC, the just-in-time
Mm-hmm.
transcoding. So now we have a ready product. We are having the first discussions with customers. Tomorrow we even have a live event. It's a proof of concept, but actually it's a live proof of concept because it's with real customers and a real
Yeah.
live channel. So
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah, that's always
Means that
good. When it's live and
yeah,
it's real, that's
exactly. So
yeah.
that means that yeah, it's a good test for us.
Mm.
Of course, yeah, we will have continuous discussions with other customers to see where which requirements we need to fulfill. And this is, I think, also where both Scalstrm and NetInt work closely together. Our engineering team, your engineering team, that we get feedback from customers and partners like, yeah, we need this feature or that feature. That we can implement it quite fast. So we add more and more features to it. It also fits well into our server-side ad insertion, server-guided ad insertion solution, because also there the ads need to be transcoded. So I think it fits well into our product portfolio, and it makes our solution even more, yeah, end-to-end, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's interesting. We didn't talk about your ad solution. Maybe as we wrap up here, why don't you go through and give an overview of the entire platform? What's in it? Say a little blurb about each functional block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. So I think everything started with the origin, just-in-time repackaging. And
Mm,
this was our first product. Let's say 3 focus points. First of all, performance. This was something from the start. So we could do 600 channels on one rack unit server. I think we discussed it last time. We replaced 40 or 48 servers with just 2. So that's a real key differentiator. Ease of use and flexibility that we can run in the cloud and that is easy to operate.
mhm,
The I2T, image to text subtitle conversion. This is kind of an add-on where we can convert TVB image subtitles to text. Later on, we added our Shield and CDN, on-prem CDN and Shield, which was added as a product. And then later on, we added offline transcoding. And then recently, we added just-in-time transcoding with VOD and live as well at the moment. And then, of course, that's not really a product on its own, but it's more a feature or an add-on. Yeah, the ad insertion flow in general.
mm,
And of course, yeah, server-side ad insertion is something that it's a must-have. But also there, we see that the market is evolving or at least exploring server-guided ad insertion,
mhm.
which gives a lot more flexibility and probably also more quality and then possibly more revenue for the
Yeah.
end for the full chain, I think.
Yeah.
So this is currently our main product portfolio, but of course, we're always open to listen to our customers, partners. If we're missing some functionality, then we're happy to have the discussion and discuss if we can add new stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. How much of the solution that you bring to a telco is the product I'm going to say out of the box, and then how much do you need to customize? Like, do you find there's always 10%, 20% you have to customize, or are you basically bringing the product, with minimal customization?
Yeah, a good question. We try, of course, to be less, I not to customize per
Ex-
customer because it needs to
exactly.
be scalable. So
Yeah.
software-wise, we definitely only have one software stack, so we don't customize per customer.
Mm.
Also, our origin has proven itself in different environments, tier one telcos, broadcasters. So
Mm.
I think in 99% of the cases, all the features are there. And it's just some fine tuning that we might need to do for specific use cases. So yeah, I would say mostly it's plug and play with some small customizations, but it's not really a customization, it's more tweaking or fine tuning depending on the use case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think, everybody would like to be a product company from the perspective that it's a full out of the box solution. Um,
correct.
Video is just the requirements are just too diverse. It just isn't really possible. We all are
Mm,
delivering solutions where you hope to bring as close to 100% as
exactly,
as
exactly.
possible to every single customer, but it just
Mhm.
it's just not practical or realistic. So yeah,
No, indeed. There are
but I
always special use cases.
yeah, but I always like asking the question because there's certainly nothing wrong with a bespoke engineering type approach. And there's even some customers who maybe that's exactly what they want. Is come, let's code, let's design this together, and then let's co-create the solution. But I sometimes smile when I see companies representing themselves as a products company, and it's like, wait a second, you're pretty much building every solution, new.
Mm, yeah,
So it's just a different approach.
yeah.
That's it.
No,
Yeah,
I think in the end it's a good thing because in the end all our customers will benefit from it because if we have
exactly.
need to do
Yeah,
some fine tuning for one
yeah,
customer, yeah,
yeah,
another customer can benefit from it,
yeah,
and then yeah,
yeah.
so I think
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's the benefit of a product that has years and years and years of development behind it.
correct, correct, yeah,
It's the same with us. We have a wide range of applications, of use cases, of I would even dare to say sophistication. And that's not to say that some customers are smarter than others. That's not at all what I'm saying, but the fact is we have some customers where the encoding team is 30, 40, 50 people, and all they're doing is working at the deepest levels of the codec, and there's other teams that, it's one person who, maybe can carve off 5 hours a week to go do some evaluations. It's just how the company's built, right?
hmm
So the beautiful thing is, the refinements and the enhancements that we make for the team of 50, deep codec engineers, PhDs. Well, guess what? All of our customers, generally speaking, sometimes there's features that we're not able to roll out to everybody, or just when it makes sense. But everybody benefits. So it's yeah. So it's definitely like I think of CRF, and this was one of the things we promoted. We introduced CRF now, a year and a half ago. In fact, actually, maybe it was 2 years ago. And the ability to make a change, add a feature like CRF to the encoder, to a hardware encoder, was like revolutionary. People were like, you can modify the rate control. It's like, yes. And after we actually shipped, the products. So every VPU in the field was able to be upgraded. Um, Both Logan and Quadra. Logan was our first generation, but with CRF, rate control. absolutely amazing. So, again, something that's been available for many, 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 many years on like X264, X265. But the fact that you could add that to hardware was, really, um, yeah, really, really, really revolutionary and opened a lot of people's eyes, to the flexibility that we offer. Well, Dominic, thank you for circling back around. This is our second Voices of Video interview. Uh, you know, um, Leading up to NAB, and then now we get to close and kind of say, here's what we saw, and here's the progress, the success. We will definitely do something similar before IBC, and we're gonna be talking more. So I wish you the
Yeah.
best. Thank you for your support, and we're really happy to have Scalstrm be a part of our ecosystem, the VPU ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And we also really appreciate the opportunity to be at NAB at your booth, and we really appreciate the partnership as well. And looking
Yeah,
forward to the next steps in the coming months, definitely, for sure.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Super. Okay, well, thank you to all the listeners. We really do appreciate your time and the attention that you give us. Voices of Video, we strive to, bring real conversations with companies and people who are building real technologies, real products. They're doing the real stuff. You're not going to get a lot of sort of industry analysis and debate and discussion about things that sometimes are sort of like the weather. There's absolutely nothing that we can do to change whether we like it or not. So what we strive to do here at Voices of Video is bring the real facts, educate you, hopefully entertain you a little bit, but help improve your knowledge of what's happening in video encoding, video streaming, bring along the technology advancements like VPU, and we hope this is helpful. So until the next episode, as we commonly say, happy encoding.